Attention, everybody! The views expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and/or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and on nonprofits. So, without any further ado, here's the man with the plan and some gold in his hand. It's Tony Hammock.
Well, good morning. Thanks, Matt. We have a wet one out there this morning. I got to tell you, it is raining, and I think it's supposed to rain all day long, but it's still a wonderful day in the Ozarks. And I tell you, the only reason this is kind of working for me is I had to drop my little guy off this morning, and I had a little time to kill between then and now. And so I stopped over here at Ziggy's at the corner of Sunshine and Glenstone and had a little breakfast. And if you get a chance, you might do that. Ask for Debbie.
It's in the Lamplighter Inn.
Yeah, she's my favorite waitress, and she is very, very good. The food was good, so here I am. A couple cups of coffee, and ready to go.
You didn't sound too sure about that ready to go comment.
Ready to go. Well, and if you haven't noticed, it's not that I've lost my razor. It's just that the...
That was going to be the next thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Disheveled, they would say.
Yes. This from three men with facial hair. But anyway.
You were joining the club.
Oh, yeah. The newest member, the recruit.
The recruit. You're a prospect until we say otherwise.
Well, this morning I get to go over at 10:30. I know the camera, I don't know if you can see this, but I get to go over at 10:30 and get my stitches removed. So I'm really excited about that, and then we'll make decisions on whether or not the razor gets used or not. So just all kinds of
I think you should grow a beard, Tony.
all kinds of exciting things happening today.
So distinguished.
Diet Gold.
He's a professional, though, so he'd have to. It takes a lot of care to keep it nice.
Yeah, well, you know, I haven't had one. In fact, this is probably the most I've had without shaving, probably since college. I grew a beard or two in college and stuff, and then once I was out of college, I just,
Was you a hip?
shaved, yeah, And, well, I went to college in California, so I was kind of,
Was that in the 70s?
yes, it was.
So that explains the beard. You had either a full beard or a big bushy mustache.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we had one of those, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, it was...
It's like a woolly worm on top of your, run under your nose.
But that was a long, long time ago. And anyway, I've got some good stuff for us today. The first thing I'll start with is our stewardship course. I think that this is the fourth one out of four on this lesson. Let me find it here real quick. And yeah, I went to breakfast, but I didn't get anything done I was supposed to get done before getting on the air here, so I apologize, but let me find it here. There we go. Money scriptures every Christian should know. And I think today this is 4 out of 4. Another short one, and then next week I'll make sure I find us a new one to work with. So, here we go. If you have lived much life at all, you are probably well aware that putting your trust in the economy, your employer, or your bank account is not a good idea. They are all fair-weather friends. One moment, all is well. The next moment, years of planning and hard work fall apart without warning. However, God is always faithful. We can be just as confident He's at work in our lives when everything looks crazy as when everything looks stable. We can always trust God to be our supply. The opposite is true as well. Even when things look peaceful and calm, that is not an indication of security. Our security comes from God. It's not at all dependent on what's going on around us, whether it is the economy, our finances, our children, or our marriages. We could and should trust God with all of it. When are we secure? Well, after going through a particularly tough faith test, I noticed something about myself. When my circumstances began to look better, I trusted a bit less in God and a bit more in myself. After all, my situation didn't require much faith. What a mistake. We are no less dependent on God when things are going well as when they seem like a disaster. Good circumstances only provide an illusion of security. That's when it's easiest to see how things will all work out. But isn't it amazing how quickly we can go running back to God when things look bad again? We quickly realize that God was really our protection all along. The great news is that for believers, bad circumstances are only an illusion of a lack of security. We have God's word. He will never leave us, never forsake us. Call on him. It doesn't matter how the economy looks, how your prospects seem, or how things are going at work. God will still supply your needs, just like he promised. Pray this prayer of commitment. God, I give you my work, my money, my debt, and my ability to earn. I relinquish my trust in the economy, the stock market, and my job. When it's all said and done, you are Lord of all, and so I trust you with everything, believing you are able to supply all my needs according to your glorious riches in Christ Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen. And boy, there's some good stuff in that one. I know I look back at my life and think of times where I was on my knees begging and pleading, please let me get out of this. Don't ever let me, I'll never do that again. And, you know, and then of course a little while passes and all of a sudden it's like I, you know, haven't prayed as much and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, I can relate to some of that as far as that goes. And I think that was a good lesson and good scriptures and so forth. Hopefully you all agree. And, you know, you can always help form this program by writing in or calling in or emailing us, Matt or Jason or myself. You can always reach me at 417-755-0700 or Tony at thegoldaffiliate.com. And, you know, I'll get right back to you if you have a message or something like that. Or a question or constructive criticism. Any of those. All the above. So let me find the next part here. I need to find our prices. And okay, so the prices are on the home page here. And there we go. If you haven't been paying attention, it's been somewhat volatile of late. Gold is today $15.65, and part of this is you know, this coronavirus. There's fears that, you know, one day it's going to kill everybody, and the next day it's not that big a deal, and so you've got the speculators that come in and out of the market based on, you know, short-term information like that, and you know, it drives the price up or down. Silver is $17.57. These are all as of 9:06 a.m. Platinum is $959 an ounce. Palladium is $2,413 an ounce. These are all the precious metals. And rhodium is the most precious of all right now because it is $10,550 an ounce. So, you know, you've got a lot of activity there. I think palladium and rhodium are a little higher than they normally are just because of the lack of supply due to some water issues over in Africa where most of the mines are. And, you know, there's still a lot of folks out there saying that gold is going to probably take off here and get, you know, past 1,700, maybe as high as 2,000 this year. Every once in a while, I read somebody that says no, but I read a guy last night, he was talking to how gold's going to go down 54%. So, I mean, you know, there's always different viewpoints on this stuff. And then silver is $17.57. I've got several people that think that silver is probably going to, you know, get up to triple figures here somewhere in the near future. And boy, that would be neat. You know, when we've talked about this before, there's a ratio between silver and gold where you take how many ounces of silver it takes to equal an ounce of gold price-wise. And right now, with the prices, it's back to about a 90-to-1 ratio. 90 ounces of silver to equal the amount for 1 ounce of gold. And historically, that's been more like, you know, 60-to-1. I mean, if you really want to go back to like the 70s, it was more like 30 to 35-to-1. So there's a lot of folks that are thinking that, you know, we're going to see a bull market in silver soon, where people are going to start to realize that it is way undervalued. It's still less to buy an ounce of silver than it is to get it out of the ground. So I'm sure the demand will pick up on that. The base metals, copper. Now these are all by the pound. Copper is $2.60. Nickel is $5.93. Aluminum is 76 cents. Zinc is 97 cents. Lead is 83 cents. And uranium is $24.65 a pound. You got crude oil. This is way down from our prior shows, but it's $51.42 a barrel. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up another 191 so far today. It's at 29,468. The NASDAQ's at 9673 and so forth. So, you know, there's still a lot of people out there that think there's room to go in the market. I'm a true believer in trying to be contrarian. And so anytime there's a lot of people doing something, I try to look over here and see what they're not doing. And that's kind of what the issue is with gold and silver still to this day. There's a lot of people out there trying to get those last few points in some of those stocks. And, you know, we don't know when they'll correct. I mean, this is the longest bull market in history and so forth and so on. But it'll be interesting to see. Now, one thing I did want to bring up in today's show is, because from the get-go, we talked about this was going to be about alternative assets. And we've spent 99% of our time pretty much on gold and silver, a little bit on some of the other precious metals and stuff. But, you know, if you've been paying attention, Bitcoin, for the first time in a while, is up over $10,000 a coin. Now, that's pretty neat. I mean, you know, let's put it this way. If we go to Bitcoin, let me give you some values here. Let me find my little app. There she is. Bitcoin today is up 4.68%. You know, there's a lot of you folks that would be tickled if you were getting 4.68 in a CD or a bond or something like that on an annual basis. But Bitcoin's up 4.68% for the day. For the week, it's up 9.52%. And for the month, it's up 27%. 27% in 1 month. And for the last year, you know, a rolling 12-month, like from February 12th of 2019 through today, it's up 188%. And in fact, I guess a year ago today, it was about 35.61, and today it's $10,335.90 at the moment. And, you know, I mean, the thing with Bitcoin is it is very volatile. It's not for widows and orphans. It's not for a lot of people. I think I've mentioned it several times on the show before that I think that Bitcoin could be, you know, 1% of someone's portfolio that understands the risk. In other words, it'd be money that if you lost it, you would be, you know, you'd be disappointed, but you wouldn't change your lifestyle. Because I think Bitcoin is here to stay. I think all of the cryptos, for the most part, are here to stay. And part of it is the blockchain. The blockchain that Bitcoin brought to us and stuff is what is getting so popular, especially with some of the major financial companies out there, because it's basically like a ledger in the sky. I mean, they can settle things in seconds that used to take hours, and they have a ledger so they can show the transactions and so forth. I mean, it is just blowing them away with what they can accomplish as compared to the old days when they didn't have blockchain to work with and stuff. So we might keep our eye on Bitcoin. I mean, there are other coins out there. There's Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. Litecoin's one I like a lot. Binance, Tether, EOS. I mean, you know, if you're into this market, you know that there's hundreds of cryptos out there these days, and the bulk of the market cap, in other words, if you took all the coins out there and you multiplied them by their value at any one time, the market cap would be the answer. And Bitcoin is still, you know, the vast majority of that market cap. In fact, the ones I just mentioned are probably 99.9% of the market cap. So a lot of little ones out there, and there's some people that really like those. In fact, I'm sitting here looking top movers. One, Tezos, is up 21.67%. Ethereum's up 13.78. Chainlink is up 10.83. Basic, a tenth, It's up 10. Stellar Luminar up 9.34, and XRP is up 8.76. That's just today. So, you know, if you got questions about the cryptos, feel free to give me a call there again, 417-755-0700. And you can always email me at tony@thegoldaffiliate.com. Let's change gears just a little bit. What I thought I would do today is take and get into some what I call fundamentals. And what I mean by that is, you know, I've mentioned a number of companies that I do business with, mainly in the precious metals area, gold and silver. Some of these are affiliate relationships. Some are 1099 type contracts and so forth and stuff like that. And it's always funny to me how different entities will rise to the top, kind of like the cream rises to the top. And you know, you give anybody or anything enough time, and they will show their true colors. And I've had that happen now with two of these companies. One of them is my good friend at National Gold Consultants, and you know, we've had Ryan Long on the show a couple times remotely. Unfortunately, the one time I had him in Springfield, lost October 10th. That was a Thursday, and he couldn't get here the day before. So sometime we will have him here live, because he is very, very, very knowledgeable when it comes to gold and silver. He's currently working on a couple of cases for me, and his input and work ethic and knowledge is just phenomenal. And the reason why I like National Gold Consultants is it's more of a wholesale opportunity. In other words, we're not sitting here talking about prices that have another markup or two because it's a retail type distribution. In other words, he's wholesale. Now granted, there's still going to be a little bit of a markup. He usually works with about a 7% markup. But I mean, that is a much, much, much better deal than a lot of these that you see out there, either in the TV ads or the newspaper or, you know, social media, whatever. I mean, because there is a plethora of gold and silver affiliate companies that are vying for our attention. I mean, I could probably sit here and name 32 of them. And I've had one or two of them that I've shown on the show and stuff like that. But National Gold Consultants I really like because, one, they are up in Minnesota. So, you know, like 6 months of the year, all he's got to do is talk about gold and silver and study. Well, I take it back. You know what? A couple weeks ago, I called him one day on a Friday, and he was out ice fishing with his son. So I'm surprised he had cell service out there on the lake. But anyway, National Gold Consultants is committed to creating portfolio resiliency in a precarious economy. They are financial advisor focused because they understand the tremendous responsibility of asset management. So if you are an advisor and want to learn more about National Gold Consultants, give me a shout. NGC assist advisors in fulfilling their fiduciary duty and believe tangible precious metals have a place in every portfolio. Above all, they believe responsibility, integrity, and knowledge are paramount when placing clients' wealth in gold and silver. And they actually have coined the phrase wealth insurance. You know, we've all heard of life insurance and auto insurance and home insurance and all those kinds of things. You know, I guess my brain just kicked in to give a quick ad for my wife, Lorna. You know, she's over there at Liberty Mutual, and you can always ask her for help with life insurance, home insurance, and auto insurance. And her number is 417-225-2011. But, you know, as far as wealth insurance, what we're talking about there is insurance for your portfolio, because they've done studies. I mean, gold's been out for 5,000 years. They've done studies about what if you had 10% of your portfolio in gold and 90% in like the S&P 500 to represent stocks. What would that do throughout, you know, 15, 20, 10, you know, whatever time frame you want to look at. And it almost is 100% of the time it will lower your standard deviation, your risk, with all the modern portfolio theory statistics that we can get into. It will lower your risk, and it will increase your return. I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good combination to me. I kind of like lowering my risk, but yet getting a bigger return. And I've got software that can show back testing. So if you have a portfolio that is sizable and you're curious, like, what if I had 5% in the silver and 15% in gold over the last 20 years? What would I now, what would I have gained by doing that and stuff? I can run that for you and create a PDF and send it to you, or I can tell you where the software is if you're interested, and you can go and do it yourself. It's not that complicated. It's free, and it is a really neat way to kind of analyze whether it would have made sense. Now, granted, we're back testing. Hindsight's 20/20. What does the future have in store? And there's just a lot of people that think that you need to have at least 10% of your portfolio in gold and silver right now for a lot of reasons. But National Gold Consultants, they do a wonderful job. Here's 8 reasons why I like National Gold Consultants, and I don't even think one of these mentions Ryan, but National Gold Consultants is one of the only licensed, regulated, and insured gold and silver firms that exclusively works with financial advisors and insurance producers. There's not many out there that do that. Over the decades, National Gold Consultants has amassed relationships and contracted more than 1,500 of these agents throughout the country, me being one of them. The NGC is bonded through the state of Minnesota, which protects every purchase. NGC is wholesale, not retail. We've talked about that. NGC is registered to conduct business in all 50 states. NGC does not charge any fees for liquidations or required minimum distributions. That is huge. I mean, and we're going to get into some of their portfolio ideas and why this buyback provision is so important here in a minute. But there's just a lot of companies out there that, they'll be glad to sell you some gold and silver, but if you ever need to sell it, they'll tell you to go elsewhere, or if they can do it for you, they're going to charge you an exit fee. And Ryan does not do that. And on those required minimum distributions, with this new Secure Act that passed quickly there in December, once you become age 72 now, it used to be 70 and a half, but once you become age 72, you've got to start taking withdrawals from your defined contribution plans, which for most people is an IRA. And, there's people out there that will charge a fee to take a withdrawal in an IRA, even though if it's a required minimum distribution. Ryan does not. National Gold Consultants assist producers in fulfilling their fiduciary commitments by educating their clients on the best way to invest in precious metals. And National Gold Consultants' highly liquid, non-qualified investment model is tailored to protect your client's privacy and purchasing power. So, it is a neat outfit. And over the last couple of months, there's just been a couple of things. If I had more time and could have redacted some of the statements and things like that, I would have brought them in so I could have shown you. But Ryan's help is priceless in some cases. Now, I mentioned we've got 4 portfolio ideas. Some of these I've gone over in prior shows, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time, reading this word for word and stuff, but I am going to hit some of the highlights. And, there's when you look at investments, there's non-qualified investments, which means they're not in an IRA. You've already paid tax on those dollars. And then there's qualified. And qualified would be your IRA, your 401k, your Simple, your SEP, things like that. And those usually were able to get money put into them before tax. So there's a little bit different of a strategy. Now, if you've got a Roth IRA, that's a whole different thing, and we can talk about that and stuff. Roth IRAs are funded with after-tax dollars, and the main benefit is down the road when you start pulling money out, it's tax-free. Unlike a regular IRA where you are making deposits with pre-tax dollars, and down the road, every penny you pull out of them is taxable. So, but the reason I go through that is with a non-qualified silver strategy. When investing your non-qualified funds into silver, the most advantageous way to do it is through 1 ounce pre-1933 silver dollars. The advantages over other silver products are privacy, performance, and liquidity. Pre-33 American silver dollars are classified as semi-numismatic. Now that's the important term here, semi-numismatic, which categorizes them into a private asset class, similar to cash. However, these private assets require no state or federal reporting on any level. This protects your privacy, meaning no one except National Gold Consultants and your advisor know of your precious metal investment. The pre-33 silver dollars perform better than other bullion products simply due to supply and demand. Government mints cannot reproduce these coins. This means that there is a finite amount left in the marketplace. As supply and demand run their course, you are left on the profitable end. These silver dollars will rise in value as their supply gets smaller. This in turn makes liquidity easier because, remember I mentioned this earlier in the 8 reasons to do business with them, especially National Gold Consultants want these coins back to fulfill the demand. So, you know, let's just take a hypothetical case that maybe I've seen happen here recently, $100,000 non-qualified. Somebody puts them into these pre-1933 coins, and it's total privacy. Let's say that, you know, from last April to now, that $100,000 is worth $120,000. Person decides to sell. They sell. There's no 1099 required. And now when they sell, they go right back to National Gold Consultants and sell them there with no fee. So it's a very, very neat strategy that that Ryan has. Now, as long as we're on silver, let's talk about the qualified silver, because these pre-33 coins, they're not going to work in the IRAs. So with qualified silver, in other words, you've got an IRA and you're wanting to put it in silver, much like my wife just recently did, and when investing your qualified funds into silver, the most advantageous way to do it is with 1 ounce silver Canadian maple leaf coins due to their performance and liquidity. Canadian maple leaf coins consistently outperform bullion bar products and are easy to liquidate since they are recognized by companies like National Gold Consultants. While other common sovereign coins like the American Eagle or Chinese Panda coins also carry these advantages over bullion bar products, they require additional premiums that the Canadian maple leaf coins do not, making the Canadian maple leaf coins the most strategic and beneficial choice. Now, I will tell you that we got the most recent statement from Gold Star Custodian yesterday. That's the company that National Gold Consultants use for IRAs. And it's the second statement we've got. We got the first statement back in December when we just made the change, and the money went to them. And this statement was the first one that really had, you know, the initial transaction and you know, the annual fee and things like that. There is a fee for the IRA. It's nominal, but still, I was very impressed with the disclosure of everything on this statement. So much so that I meant to bring it with me and forgot. So I apologize. I'll have it next week. I'll redact the things like, you know, her account number and all this kind of good stuff, privacy things. But you can kind of see just how good this statement is. And remember, I've been doing this since I've been in financial services since '81. And securities and insurance and things like the alternative assets since '83. And so you can imagine I've seen a bunch of statements in my career. And this one I thought was pretty clear and easy to read and covered the important things. Now, let's switch gears from silver to gold. Let's say you want to go into gold with your non-qualified dollars. When investing your non-qualified funds into gold, the most advantageous way to do it is through our through our quarter-ounce pre-33 gold $5 coins. The advantages over other gold products are privacy, performance, and liquidity. Quarter-ounce pre-33 American $5 gold coins are classified as semi-numismatic. There's that term again, semi-numismatic, which categorizes them into the private asset class similar to cash. However, these private assets require no state or federal reporting on any level. This protects your privacy, meaning no one except National Gold Consultants and your advisor know of your precious metal investment. The pre-33 $5 gold coins perform better than other bullion products simply because of supply and demand. Government mints cannot reproduce these coins. This means that there is a finite amount left in the marketplace. As supply and demand run their course, you are left on the profitable end. These gold coins will rise in value as the supply gets smaller. Then in turn, makes liquidity easier because companies, especially NGC, want these specific coins back to fulfill the demand. Very similar to what we said about the non-qualified silver, but in this case we're talking gold. And so this would be the non-qualified strategy for if you wanted gold in your portfolio. And I got to tell you, I would try and have a little of both if it were me. Last week, and I can't remember, I can't hardly remember last week because I had that surgery on Tuesday and, obviously had been, had anesthesia for the surgery and then they'd given me some pills. And I can't remember if I think I showed this last week, but I got to tell you, if I didn't, I want to show it the first time. If I did, this will just be a reminder. I had last week gotten my little 1 gram of gold from the Perth Mint in Australia. And now this is just 1 gram. They'd take 32 of these to make an ounce. And this would be about, let's say $50 right now. But how cool is that to have that on a credit card format? I can have that in my wallet, have a piece of gold with me. If all of a sudden the dollar's worthless and I need to get something done, all I got to do is go in and use this as currency and not have to worry about the dollars in my pocket or the credit cards or the checking account being worthless. So I mean, that's obviously an extreme measure and stuff, but for some reason I really dig this. It's just so compact and easy to carry around and stuff. I mean, they've got a variety of things you can get in that format, silver also, but I really like the little 1 gram on the credit card concept. Which leads me to the qualified gold. Now this would be if you had an IRA and you wanted gold in that IRA. Here again, the pre-33 coins do not work in the qualified markets. So in this case, when investing your qualified funds into gold, the most advantageous way to do it is with 1 ounce gold Canadian maple leaf coins due to their performance and liquidity. Canadian maple leaf coins consistently outperform bullion bar products and are easy to liquidate since they are recognized by companies like National Gold Consultants, while other common sovereign coins like the American Eagle or Chinese Panda coins also carry these advantages over bullion bar products. They require additional premiums that the Canadian maple leaf coins do not, making the Canadian maple leaf coins the most strategic and beneficial choice. So, they are what we use or recommend using inside of an IRA. When purchasing gold with qualified funds, the metals must be held in a depository through a trust custodian. National Gold Consultants works exclusively with Gold Star Trust Company and the Delaware Depository because they hold the highest of reputations, the best pricing, and the best customer service. Remember I mentioned there's a fee for the IRA. The fees associated with IRA accounts are roughly $175 per year, depending on the size of the account. National Gold Consultants is available for the client during time of liquidation or required minimum distributions at no additional cost. And it says, when liquidating a qualified account, we strongly recommend exchanging at least a portion of it into our non-qualified pre-33 coins that the client would physically possess. So, you're sitting there, you're taking your RMD out, and now it's gone from qualified to non-qualified because, it's coming out and you're paying taxes on it. Why not buy some pre-33 coins? And speaking of interesting things, I think I've seen the golden microphone out there somewhere. Matt, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm right here, Tony. Hi, Tony.
Take it over.
Hi, everybody watching Tony. It's good to see you guys. Matt here from the producer's desk at Axe Media Group headquarters. So today's show is brought to you by NaturalSolutionsStore.bz. That's right, you guessed it. Today's product I'm going to be featuring is CoQ10 or CoQ10 or Coenzyme Q10. Now, it is a powerful antioxidant that fights free radicals, a completely water and fat soluble formulation. CoQ10 absorbs fast so that you can enjoy its health benefits quickly and naturally. Dozens of clinical studies have proven CoQ10 to be one of the most remarkable supplements around. Yeah, or antioxidants around. Sorry about that. I lost my place. It supports heart health and it boosts cellular energy, replenishing the body with the CoQ10 that it lacks. Although the human body is capable of producing CoQ10 as we age, Tony, Jay, the body loses its ability to produce enough. In addition, many cholesterol-lowering drugs, or otherwise statin drugs, as you might call them, deplete the body of CoQ10. But take heart. Helping the body to return to normal levels is as easy as going to naturalsolutionstore.bz and picking up a bottle of CoQ10 today. Back to you, Tony.
Well, thanks, Matt. That worked out great because it gave me a chance to make a little transition here with my laptop and stuff. Before we conclude this little bit with National Gold Consultants, let me go through some frequently asked questions. And one is, how long until the product is delivered? And the answer is, typical transactions undergo a 7-business-day clearing process and are shipped out thereafter. So in other words, if you bought, let's say, some gold or silver through National Gold Consultants today, you know, you'd have to go 7 business days before they would ship it out, which in this example, I guess, would be Thursday, Friday. In this case, Monday is President's Day, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday would be 7, and then they would ship it out. So you'd have it within 2 weeks. Next question, how will products be shipped? And the answer is, products will be shipped via United States Postal Service and are insured by NGC until it is signed for. Next question is, where is the product stored? And the answer is, qualified funds are held in the Delaware Depository for the client. Non-qualified funds are held in the client's possession and stored with his or her discretion. How does liquidation work? This is an important one. National Gold Consultants is available to your clients for liquidation at any time. And then the last question is, are there fees associated with liquidating? And the answer is no. National Gold Consultants does not charge any fees when your clients liquidate. NGC sells these types of products regularly and constantly needs product to fulfill future orders. So just some of the more frequent questions. That's a little bit convoluted for me right now. Let me see if okay, here's some interesting numbers. This is the pre-33 gold and silver wealth insurance coins, and different times in the market. Probably the most recent one, I won't go through all 5 of them that are on this, but let's just go through. From October 9th of 2007, the S&P 500 declined. Well, let me go back. This is the S&P 500, and it's from October 9th of 07 through April 28th of 11. And the S&P 500 in that time frame went down 56.88%. And then at that same time frame, from October of 7 through April of 11, these pre-33 gold and silver coins went up 489%. So that's why we're trying to convince people to have some of them. Usually when the market goes down, the gold and silver go up, and it kind of makes a nice buffer for your portfolio and stuff. Here's another one, just real quick. .com crash. Remember back March of 2000 through October of 02? The S&P 500 was down 49% in that time frame. Pre-33 silver dollars were up 58%. And then the housing market crash, which was October of 07 through April of 11, down 56 for the S&P. In other words, stocks were down 56, 57%, and the pre-33 silver dollars were up 504%. So some compelling reasons to have those. Now, let me switch gears on you real quick because, you know, I was thinking about it on the drive over here. I like National Gold Consultants for folks that have, you know, let's say $5,000 or more to invest for a lot of reasons, especially if it's non-qualified. We can get into those pre-33 silver and gold coins. If you have less than that, it might be best to look at my other company that's kind of risen to the top here lately, for a lot of reasons, and I'll get into. But that would be the 7K metals. And the 7K metals, you know, without being real mysterious about it, a couple of the reasons I like them is, one, they're like a buying club, much like Sam's or Costco or Amazon Prime. You know, you pay an initiation fee. The lowest one, there's 3 of them, but the lowest one's $199 per year. And for that, you get to go in and you can buy gold and silver bullion at dealer direct pricing. And I got to tell you, every time I do a transaction for someone, I'm pricing it through 7K, through National Gold Consultants, and a few others, just to make sure we're getting the best value for our dollar. And so that's one thing, is the buying club concept. The other thing I like is they've got an auto saver program. So if you want, you can get a coin a month. It's automatic. It, you know, gets charged to your credit card. They ship it out. You get it on your doorstep. You don't have to think about it. And I got to tell you, I've been doing that since I got involved with 7K, and you know, now I've got almost a dozen of these coins, and haven't really, you know, had to do a lot of extra effort and stuff. The travel savings cards, they've got the 7K getaway. Every time you get a coin, you get a travel card. And the value of the travel card more than offsets the cost of the silver. So, you know, most of the travel cards are $125 a piece. As long as you're using them, if you're just throwing them in the drawer and never using them, then you're still pretty much out the price of your coin, which on the base level is $95 a month. But if you're using them, which we've done a couple times now, you know, if you're getting $125 to use a hotel, and saving that on a hotel or a rental car or something, it adds up pretty quick. The other two things, or the other thing that I really like, is they have a 7K healthcare program. And the way this works is, you know, I mean, there's 33 million Americans that don't have health care. And, you know, not everybody qualifies for Medicaid. Not everybody knows what to do. And, you know, if you are a member of 7K, so in other words, you've paid your membership, you're in the program, you're getting your bullion, you're getting your monthly coin, whatever you're doing, you're taking advantage of that dealer direct pricing. 7K has teamed up with SBA Freedom Healthcare out of Colorado to provide a premium healthcare plan for their members. And I got to tell you, the plan is pretty neat. I've been pricing it a little bit for our family. We haven't made the decision to go with them just yet because my wife still has insurance through her employer, but we're looking at it. And it's nice for someone that has no health coverage of any kind, shape, form, or fashion, to have something like this available. So if nothing else, it might be worth taking a look at 7K for that. The gold-backed IRA, you know, if you want to get into that qualified story again we were just talking about, you can buy your gold in an IRA through 7K. And, you know, I mean, I can go on and on and on. I mean, if you decided to share 7K with people in your world, you know, and you were doing it as a business, which some people do, you might get some tax benefits. You know, it's best to check with your CPA or your enrolled agent on whether that works for you or not. But, because, you know, I don't give tax advice, but I do know that some people are able to use these tax-deductible expenses and so forth. But let's get into why this might make sense. I mean, you know, let's do this in the remaining time. I mean, are you working harder for more money to cover the basics? I mean, think about it. We just got through with the holidays. How many people made it through January, you know, without some kind of, you know, like, oh my goodness, there's a lot more January than I have money. I know that even us, we were kind of like, man, I'm sure glad Christmas is over and we can get back to normal stuff. But it's not just you. I mean, higher costs and added financial pressures on families today, excuse me, are causing fear and uncertainty and doubt on a large scale. And I got to tell you, if you're losing sleep over your finances, that's not a pleasant place to be. You know, it affects your whole day the next day and affects your relationships with your family and so forth and so on. As of May of 17, 44% of the Americans said they could not cover a $400 emergency expense, and would rely on credit cards, selling something, or borrowing the money if such an event arose. What's happening with your money? It's in the numbers. You know, if you look at 1913, a dollar was a dollar. The Federal Reserve was created. 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt made it illegal to hold gold coins. 1944, as the Second World War was ending, all the world's leaders got together at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, and established the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And then in '71, Nixon closed the gold window. That's when he disconnected the dollar from being backed by gold. And so a dollar was a dollar back in 1913. Today, it's got about 5 cents of purchasing power left. So that's one of the reasons that we're talking about that. The dollar has lost around 96% of its value since the Federal Reserve was created back in 1913. And here's some of the examples. I mean, this is just from 2000 to 2018, and the source for this information is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But food at home. Have you gone to the grocery store lately? I mean, I took Luke, our 12-year-old, who you met last week. We went through a grocery store here the other night just for a couple items, and I mean, it was like $49. So food at home is up 43%. Food out, I mean, God bless you if you can go out to dinner. I mean, that's Springfield's favorite thing to do, because every time we decide we're going to do that, every restaurant's got a line. But that's up 59%. And your heat sources, which is kind of popular this time of year, heat sources are up 99%. Car insurance, 97%. Water and sewer, 133%. College tuition, boy, I tell you what, those tuitions go up every doggone year, and they're going up next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. They go up higher than most things. They're up 151%. So if you've got some young folks in your family and you're looking at them wanting to go to college, you're going to have to go right into the teeth of that bear. And then medical care, up 97%. So, you know, I mean, it's out there as far as the less that we can pay for with our dollars. And then, you know, what I always like to do is talk about, well, why don't we look at some sound money ideas, which is a fancy way of talking about gold and silver. Gold and silver is one of those secrets the wealthy have used for ages to amass and protect their wealth. In fact, governments and financial institutions know and use the secret. They are the largest holders of gold in the world today. And there's several reasons why. You know, a couple shows ago I talked about the Bellum 3 that went into effect last April, where these big central banks all over the world now can have gold on their balance sheet, and it's a Tier 1 asset, which means it is riskless, and they can count 100% of that value towards their reserves to make loans. So central banks around the world are buying gold at record paces. But if you look at 65, let's say you had $1 and you also had an ounce of silver. You could have bought a gallon of milk for either 1 ounce of silver or $1. Today, if you went into the store to buy a gallon of milk, they would laugh at you if all you had was $1. 1 ounce of silver today could buy you about 5.5 gallons of milk. Kind of depends on which store you go and all this kind of stuff. But it's about 5 gallons of milk, which is about $20. So you've seen an increase in the buying power of silver of about 410%. A movie ticket. You know, we got to go see a movie this last Saturday. And, you know, I know what that cost us. Thankfully, you know, thank goodness we had a gift certificate from somebody's Christmas gift. But, you know, back in '65, a movie ticket was an ounce of silver or $1. Today, if you had an ounce of silver, you'd get about 2 movie tickets. And if you had $1, they'd laugh at you again. You'd probably need about $20 to get 2 movie tickets, especially if you were going to the Alamo. So you've got about an 80% increase in buying power of silver for that. Now, here's my favorite one, or one of my favorite 2, I should say, is, if you haven't seen this show before, this will be the first time you've heard this. And if you've seen the show before, it doesn't hurt to hear this over again. But, back in 1965, you could have had $2,500 in cash or 2,500 silver dollars. And if you went in to buy a Ford Mustang, now keep in mind in 65, they were brand spanking new. The first Ford Mustang was 64 and a half. And these things were 2,500 bucks. The original pony car created by Lee Iacocca to save Ford. And so $2,500, either in silver coins or, silver dollars or in dollars. Today, if you went into a dealership and wanted to buy a new Ford Mustang, $2,500 would not get you very far. I mean, you might get to sit in it and take it for a test drive and pay for a couple of the tires or wheels or something and stuff. But $2,500 is just not going to cut it to buy a new Ford Mustang today. If you had 2,500 silver dollars today, you'd have about 40 grand. And with 40 grand, you could either get the top of the line Mustang with every bonus they've got, or you could probably afford two of them if you went for the base units, with the 6-cylinder and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's, what's that?
Do you have a Mustang?
No. Now, real quick in the remaining time, what about real estate? Where would you have put money in 65? Let's say you had $10,000 in 1965 and you bought a house. Now, this isn't a fancy house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, ranch, probably, 1,500 square feet, that type of thing. But the house would have probably cost you about would have cost you $10,000 in 65. Today, it would be worth about $85,803. And that comes from the real estate board. Now, if you'd taken the $10,000 in 65 and put it in gold, back then gold was $35.50 an ounce. You'd have gotten 281 ounces. And if you price that today, give or take, a little bit on the market, but at $1,501 an ounce, you'd have $421,000, almost $422,000. So you tell me, back in 65, with hindsight being 2020, would you have rather put your $10,000 into a residential property like this, or into 281 ounces of gold? And I know for me, I probably would have preferred the gold, knowing that now it'd be worth $421,000. And, that's probably all that I've got time for as far as, kind of going through some of the rationale of gold and silver. Today, kind of in summary, we've talked about National Gold Consultants. We had the last lesson in the stewardship plan that we've been on. Next week, I'll have a new one. We went through the update on the prices. We brought in Bitcoin because now it's back up over 10,000. And, probably in next week's show, I'll spend a little bit more time talking about Bitcoin. And then we spent a lot of time talking about the 4 strategies from National Gold Consultants. Silver in the qualified or non-qualified world, gold in the qualified or the non-qualified world. So 4 different strategies that you can employ to be as efficient with your dollars as possible in the gold and silver world and so forth. And then we spent a little bit of time talking about 7K. If you've got smaller amounts, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, as I said, I think a show or two ago, I mean, I've got one source now where we can get gold at $1 gram. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'd much rather have somebody, that's getting $1 gram of gold a month, and they're doing it every month, and down the road, they get an accumulation that's going to help them if we have some things happen, as compared to somebody that's, just here today and gone tomorrow type of stuff. So if I can help with anything, it's Tony Hammock with the new gold standard. Actually, you can go to tony@thegoldaffiliate.com. Or you can call me at 417-755-0700. And Matt, how much time we got?
30 seconds.
30 seconds? What can I do in 30 seconds? Go see Debbie at Ziggy's. She's got the best breakfast in town. It's good, and it's not that expensive. My wife and I go there on Saturdays. That's kind of why I'm aware of it. And, it's not uncommon sometimes for her and I to eat, and with coffee and the whole bit, and it'd be less than $20. That's all in, including tip. Unless I get crazy and decide to tip Debbie a whole bunch. But anyway, thanks for watching today. Next week we'll have a guest speaker. I tried to have this lady on today, but it just didn't work. And make sure that you always look for the silver lining in your day. Goodbye.
That was a great, goodbye.